Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal Football Club. There is a lot to discuss, and I think the winger situation at Arsenal is catching up and down. It's absolute fire. You don't want to miss it. And if you don't want to miss anything regarding Arsenal, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, and also you hit the like button on each and every video you watch. That, in that way you'll find your way to, back to the channel. But also hit that notification bell. It massively helps you when it comes to, being the first person to know when we upload. Now, according to Fabrizio Romano, Wolverhampton Wanderers are expecting offers for their Portuguese winger, Pedro Neto. At the moment, they have signed Matthias Nunes. I was about to, fuck up the name. Matthias Nunes. And they've also signed Goncalo Guedes. They are now very, very okay with Pedro Neto leaving this summer. Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, among the clubs interested. But I do not know how much is going to be enough, because Wolves are saying it has to be a bid. It has to be an offer that is actually enough. We'll talk about Cody Gakpo. Now, it looks like next week he will be able to leave PSV Eindhoven. They're playing their second leg of the UCL qualification on Wednesday against Rangers, and after that game they will be absolutely okay with letting him go. Man United still and Arsenal are very, very closely monitoring the player, and they believe a summer move for him could happen late in the window. Arsenal are still looking at a couple of other central midfielders, including Lucas Paqueta, whose interest is back on the radar, and also Sandro Tonali. I don't think Milan will sell, but Sandro Tonali is an exceptional talent, one that we can actually look at. I'll tell you what is happening with Yerrin Pino and Nicola Pepe as well. Like I said, the only way you can become a part of this family before we get to 57,000 subscribers is by subscribing. Now, I do not know how many of you will be part of us before we get to 57, but if you want to be part of the 57,000 subscribers, then subscribe now before the seats get empty or full, actually. Now, let's get into the Pepe situation. Let's start off with Nicola Pepe. According to a couple of stories and a couple of reports from France, Arsenal and Nice are very close to an agreement to so that Pepe will join Nice on a season-long long loan. The problem is that Nice do not want to pay the full wages of Nicola Pepe. Now, Nice believe Pepe is earning a lot of money. They want him on a loan deal, and they feel he's a player that can add something to them, but he's earning a hell lot of money, and they would wish Arsenal to pay the bigger parts of the players' wages. That is if they're going to take him on a loan deal. Now, look, this absolutely works for Arsenal, but for me, it's a deal that is also absolutely, totally ridiculous. First and foremost, I think Nicola Pepe is going to be a very difficult player to find a destination for. Sevilla wanted him. I think Newcastle wanted him. AC Milan wanted him as well. But the problem is no one wants to meet the valuation of Arsenal. That is around 25 to 30 million pounds. I think all clubs are willing to part with around 15 to 80 million pounds for Nicola Pepe. And remember in July, I came out here and said, if I'm Arsenal, I take that money and run. Now, look, the truth is Nicola Pepe is a talented player. He is a very talented player. But is he going to maximize his potential in the Premier League? Is he going to become a star for Arsenal? That is never going to happen. I know many people on this channel love me and they love Nicola Pepe. And I'm not about to insult him or to, undermine him. But the truth is Nicola Pepe will not become an Arsenal star. Whether he's given game time or not, he will not become, an Arsenal star. So a loan deal to Nice would actually work for Nicola Pepe. It would work for Nice as well, but it doesn't benefit Arsenal. First and foremost, the reason that's why we want to move Nicola Pepe on, we want to bring in someone who can give us a little bit more quality and also assurances that when Saka and Gabriel Martinelli are out of the team, we can have someone in the position that can bring in extra quality. Nicola Pepe is not that guy. But also, you want to cut the wages of this squad. You want to trim the wages of this squad. No doubt, Mikel Arteta and Edu have done a fantastic job in terms of making sure that the wage structure is within the law, is within the scope of European standards and the Premier League standards as well. And that is a massively, huge job. But I think moving Pepe on, that, even makes it better. So Nice saying they want to take the player on a season-long loan deal, but then they don't want to pay the wages. It doesn't make any sense for me. It's a deal that doesn't make any sense for me. But this is what I'm going to say. If there is no other club interested in Nicolas Pepe, then we can't give him to Nice and pay a part of his wages. But next summer, come January, come next summer, we have to actually move him on. He cannot be earning those huge amounts of wages, and then he's not playing for us now. He's not contributing anything to the club. We understand the amount of money we paid for him was a mistake. Giving him huge wages was also a mistake, but we've got to correct the mistake now. I don't think Arsenal will get more than £20 million out of Nicolas Pepe unless he performs miracles at Nice. But if he doesn't do that, I think Arsenal will just have to offer. Will just have to settle for around £15 million. I understand what I'm talking about. It will be around £55 million in terms of losses on Nicolas Pepe. But what do we have to do? I mean, there is nothing else to do. So for me, Arsenal, we should really think about this. We really need to have to think. We really need to think about this. But Nice is on the table negotiating Nicolas Pepe to go back to France. Now, I want to talk about Pedro Neto as well. There is a positive story roaming around the internet, but I also want to clear the situation on Anthony Gordon. Arsenal are not interested in Anthony Gordon. I've seen a couple of stories linking us with Anthony Gordon, and I'm like, what the hell is happening with these media reports and Arsenal? Of course, we are doing very well. If a player is linked with Arsenal at the moment, people will get views. I'm not doing a story about Anthony Gordon because it is absolutely fake. So if you've seen it anywhere and you want me to react to it, it's absolutely fake. Do not waste your time. But Pedro Neto is the interesting one. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Wolverhampton Wanderers have spent over 70 million euros. Actually, I think it is 77 million euros on two players. That is Goncalo Guedes and also and Matthias Nunes, both from Portugal, right? I think Goncalo Guedes signs from Valencia, and Matthias Nunes, I really don't know whether he's signing. I think he's signing from Lisbon anyway. I'm not really sure. So, according to Fabrizio Romano, the next step, the focus of Wolverhampton Wanderers now is the future of Pedro Neto. Now, I understand, I've already told you that his contract is going until 2027. That's a long period of time. We are in 2022. Those are 5 years worth of a deal. So if any club is interested in him, if any club is going to sign him, it's going to take a lot of negotiation. It will take a lot of compromises, both from the club that want to sign him by raising the price, and also from Wolverhampton Wanderers. But the most important thing here is the fact that there is a lot of competition on Pedro Neto. Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, we are all interested in Neto, and it looks like at the moment Wolverhampton Wanderers are expecting an offer for the player. It is not from Arsenal. I'm not saying it's only from Arsenal, but I think Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United are all expected to make an offer for Pedro Neto. There is no indication of the price. According to the transfer market website, his market value is at 50 million euros. And I think, look, to be honest, a player who has 5 years to go on his contract, unless Wolverhampton Wanderers are sensing that he will not become the guy that they expected him to be. But if he's going to become that guy, and they are very sure that his development is on the right track, they will actually go for, I think, 60 million pounds. I think 65 million pounds or even 70 million pounds. 5 years on that contract, it is a lot. It's a lot of time. And Wolverhampton Wanderers are given absolute power in this one. But let me tell you something. He's one I would sign over the rest of the other wingers that we have on our list, because he's played in the Premier League. He's proven he can do it against Premier League defenders. He can sit players down in the Premier League. And for me, he's a very young quality player with a very high ceiling, with a high resale value. If you bought him for £50 million and he does well, you can easily sell him at 80, 90. It's one thing I love about Portuguese players, not Portuguese really, but not only Portuguese, but players that are come from outside the Premier League. Their ceiling is absolutely up there. Just look at Eden Hazard moving to Real Madrid. How much money did they pay for a 28-year-old, 29-year-old? Almost 130 million pounds. The same goes for Luis Suarez. The same goes for Felipe Coutinho. The same goes for Cesc Fabregas. The same goes for Thierry Henry. So what I'm talking about here is Pedro Neto has more advantages signing for Arsenal than a Jared Bowen, because if Bowen shines, the option is to sell him to Manchester City or to Liverpool or to Chelsea, right? But if Pedro Neto shines, it's the whole market. It's one reason I would want to sign a player like Moussa Diaby and also Yeremy Pino. It is easy to move them on, and even when they don't work out, I think Yeremy Pino, if he doesn't work out, yes, you would have signed him for 50 million euros, but you easily sell him back to Spain for around 25 million euros, and get some of your money back. But anyway, Pedro Neto, an offer isn't coming. Wolverhampton Wanderers are expected to sell, so they're not going to stand in the way of Pedro Neto if a serious offer comes in. How much is Arsenal willing to pay for Pedro Neto is the question, though. In my opinion, not more than 60 million euros. Not more than 60 million euros. Because last season, he suffered a terrible injury. This season is not really started off very, very poorly. He started, I would say he started off well. He's missing a couple of chances. And I think Mikel, that would be one of the jobs Mikel has to do. He did it with Raheem Sterling, turning his conversion rate into a decent one. I think Pedro Neto, that is what is lacking. And him and Callum Hudson-Odoi, I would take Pedro Neto. Between him and Callum Hudson-Odoi, I would take Pedro Neto, because Neto, it is the finishing. Callum Hudson-Odoi, it is more than the finishing. I think Neto has more to his game than Callum Hudson-Odoi. So Pedro Neto right now ranking up there in terms of a next move in the Premier League. Not for Arsenal only, but like I said, all clubs interested in him do have an opportunity to sign him. Now, the other player, if we miss out on Pedro Neto, is Cody Gakpo. Huge update from Netherlands. Now, it looks like PSV Eindhoven are playing their last game of the UCL qualification next week on Wednesday, when they play the second leg, when they host Rangers in the second leg of the UCL playoffs. And Cody Gakpo, after that game, will be available for a transfer. Now, you understand today is the 18th of August. We have around 12 days to the end of the month. That is roughly less than 2 weeks. So in the next 2 weeks, we expect Cody Gakpo to be on his way. Manchester United, Arsenal, Newcastle. I think those are the three clubs that I can confirm to be madly interested. Leeds United were also interested, but now the fact that they have they did sign Luis Sinistera just keeps them out of the picture. Cody Gakpo, will Arsenal make an offer? Or should Arsenal make an offer? That is a different conversation, but he's going to be available. PSV have already made themselves very clear. If any club has close to 45 million euros, they will be able to sell Cody Gakpo. United look at him as the most realistic option to Anthony, and Arsenal have always wanted him ever since March. So the interest in the player from Arsenal is absolutely genuine. The only question we are going to be talking about here, and the only concern we will have with this one, is how much time do we have to complete the deal? Because next Wednesday makes it, I think, 1 week to the end of the transfer window. And, 1 week, is it enough to negotiate with PSV for their star man, Cody Gakpo? In my opinion, deep down, I feel like they want to keep him, right? They've done a great job by keeping the likes of Sangare and the others. And I feel they will want to definitely keep him this summer. So Cody Gakpo is available after Wednesday, and any bids, any offers that come in after that, I will be able to let you know. Now, Moussa Diaby is available, just to make a clarification. Moussa Diaby is available for sale, and Bayer Leverkusen will be accepting offers for the player as long as they fall in the region of 60 million pounds. They've already made their stance very clear. They will not be selling to any club that doesn't have or doesn't meet the requirements, and the requirements for signing Moussa Diaby this summer are 60 million pounds. Now, what I understand also is that Moussa Diaby has a pre-agreement with Leverkusen to extend his contract until 2026 if no offers arrive for him. Arsenal wants him. Newcastle have discussed the deal in detail, but no one has gone in with an interesting offer. No one has gone in with a genuine offer to Bayer Leverkusen. Both clubs, Arsenal and Newcastle, are still looking at the possibility of signing Moussa Diaby. But in my opinion, this one is one where he will stay. That is what I'm going to say. He will stay at Bayer Leverkusen for another season. He will pen another contract. But I won't be very surprised if he signs a new contract, but then he still leaves next summer. So Diaby, the transfer is still alive. Arsenal can do it if they want, but it will come at a greater cost. It will come at a very, very huge burden, at a very, very huge price. So Diaby available. There is a pre-agreement with Leverkusen, but that pre-agreement will only be acted upon if no offers come in. So if Arsenal want to sign him, they will actually get him there. Now, we've been linked with a couple of central midfielders as well, but the one that has interested me more is Sandro Tonali from AC Milan. I did report about Sandro Tonali's interest a couple of days ago, and I said that Arsenal were interested in Sandro Tonali. Now, the interest has not been acted upon by Arsenal, but it is one to watch, because a couple of sources believe that Arsenal want to sign a defensive midfielder or someone who can play as a central midfielder but also can take on that role of in a single pivot, just like Thomas Partey. I mean, just to prepare for the rainy days and sunny days when Thomas Partey is not available. So Sandro Tonali at AC Milan. Milan are trying to fight for the title. They're trying to defend their title. So they want to bring in more quality and get rid of less quality. You know what I'm trying to say here is they will let go of the players that they feel are not good enough, but they will not sell their best players. We've seen it with Rafa Leao. They've already said we cannot be selling Rafa right now. We cannot sell Rafa Leao at the moment. And for me, it's the same situation with Sandro Tonali. However much I want to believe that it's a deal that is doable, Milan will not want to sell. Milan will not want to sell. And I'm just tired of negotiating with Milan clubs. I'm just tired of it. Sassuolo, Juve, and Fiorentina, they've just frustrated the hell out of me. And if it's going to go to to Italy to get a player from there for Arsenal, I would rather Arsenal get someone from elsewhere. I would rather we go for I would rather we break the contract Sangare has just signed. I know that is hell difficult, but I would rather do that than go back to Italy and Italian clubs. But anyway, speaking the truth is that Arsenal are interested in Sandro Tonali. He can play as a defensive midfielder. He can also play as a central midfielder as well. The Lucas Paqueta links are back. I don't think there is any truth to it. Now, I'm one person who believes that Edu loves Lucas Paqueta and he would love to sign him at Arsenal. But Mikel Arteta does not fancy Lucas Paqueta over Yuri Tielemans. Whatever the reason is, I cannot explain, but Lucas Paqueta to Arsenal this summer, I do not even see that coming close. I don't see Arsenal even going as far as bidding for the guy, because Edu told us that there are a couple of rumors around Lucas Paqueta, and he said we appreciate him as a player. We want him. We would love him to play for Arsenal, but at the moment there are no talks, there are no negotiations for him. So Lucas Paqueta at the moment, deal not on. If it gets back on, definitely I'll be the guy to tell you about that. And lastly, Yeremy Pino. There are reports that Arsenal have started talks for Yeremy Pino. That is not true. We are not in talks with Yeremy Pino's agents, and we are not in talks with Villarreal for Yeremy Pino. It is just concrete interest. But of course, Fabrizio Romano has said Yeremy Pino and Pedro Neto, those are the two players to watch when it comes to Arsenal's transfer policy. Arsenal's transfer targets. But at the moment, nothing concrete. So that is it from me this early morning, trying to run through the stories around the club. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course subscribe to Cossy's Arsenal podcast for the latest around Arsenal Football Club.